So today your job is going to be this. You are going to learn how to do one example, and then you are going to teach the people in your group how to do that example. And then somebody else will do a different example. There will be 3 or 4 people learning how to do examples, and then each person will be the expert and come back and teach their people one thing. So you get example 1. And so a question that you're going to teach would look like, what percent of 40 is 6? So yesterday we went through and we did a line equals a line stuff. We made everything into a proportion. So it looked something like this. And we always had percent over 100. And then over here we always had is and of. Right? So today, instead of doing that, we're going to make things into equations. And in order to do that, we're going to translate. So some things that you need to know are this. What? When you see the word what, that gets translated into a variable. I personally like to use X, but you can use whatever letter you want, anything except for O. Then the word of is going to mean multiply. Now you have to be careful with order here, but of does mean multiply. Then is means equals. So when I look back to what we did yesterday, the is means equals because that's equal to your percent. And then of means multiply because generally what happens is you do your percent of ends up being a multiply thing. All right, so let's look through this example. What percent of 40 is 6? And we're going to translate that. All right, so it says what. The first word is what. So I'm going to translate that to X. And it says what percent. That's going to be really important. I'm not going to put that into my equation, but it is going to be important later. Then it says of 40, so times 40 is, what does is mean? Is means equal, is 6. All right, so the first thing I did was I translated. All right, now I'm going to look at this and I have to figure out, okay, what do I do to solve that equation? Well, you guys are pretty darn good at this. Look at this. I put my line down and I've got to solve this equation. That's my step 2. So how do you undo this multiplication? Well, to undo times 40, you're going to divide by 40, right? So 6 divided by 40. And you might say to yourself, 6 divided by 40, I don't know what that is. Right, but this line means divide. So you're going to run over, grab your handy dandy calculator, and you are going to divide 6 by 40. All right, so I just went over, grabbed my calculator. 6 divided by 40 gives you 0.15, so 15 hundredths. So X equals 15 hundredths. The problem is my original goal was to find a percent. Have I found the percent yet? No. So my step number 3 is to change this decimal into a percent. So do you remember yesterday you showed me with your finger, what do you do with the decimal point to make a decimal into a percent? Well, you go 2 times to the right. So now that I changed my decimal to a percent, I see that X equals 15%. Okay, so I would like you to try 2 on your own. If you look down a little bit further, here they are. It says what percent of 52 is 13 and what percent of 80 is 46. So what I want you to do is push pause, and I want you to try these on your note sheet and come up with what that's going to look like, and then come back and check to make sure that you did it right. All right, so this says what percent of 52 is 13. So step 1, I'm going to translate it. So it says what percent, so X, and remember it's a percent, so we're going to have to change it into a percent at the end. Of means times, good, of 52, is means equals, good, equals 13. So now I draw my line down and I solve it. How do you undo times 52? Exactly, you divide both sides by 52. And so look at that, cancels out to 1, so I get 1x. I can just write the x is, this comes out to be, hopefully you got 0.25. Am I done? No, because I'm not into a percent yet. Percent, you always have to multiply it by 100. That's why sometimes it's nice to do it the proportion way, but here I just have to remember to make it into a percent, so I go room, room. And so my answer, x equals 25%. So hopefully that is what you had. All right, let's check this last one. What percent, so x of 80 is 46. So draw my line down. How do you undo times 80? Divided by 80. Excellent, excellent. So cancel that out. I get 1. So 1x equals 46 divided by 80. I have no clue what that is, but I would like you to figure it out. All right, so I figured out that was 0.575. Am I done yet? No. To make this into a percent, my step 3, change your decimal to a percent. You always move it over 2 times because percent is always out of 100. So x equals 57.5%. All right, so your job is to go through and teach this to your neighbors so that they understand it. Good job.